Surah is called Surah al-Haqqah. Okay, al-Haqqah. You know haqq? Haqq means truth. Something true. Al-Haqqah is like a extra emphatic version of the word haqq. As it can be translated as something that is inevitably bound to definitely happen. Al-Haqqah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks, وَمَا الْحَقَّةِ, and what is al-Haqqah? وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ al-Haqqah, and how could you ever know what al-Haqqah is? Meaning there is no way for us to comprehend what that would be, the inevitable that is to come. There is no way we can ever imagine it. This is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ, and how could you ever comprehend, and how could you ever know? It means something that is unimagined, cannot be imagined. Okay. So I want to focus on the first half as much. I'm just going to give you a quick summary. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about an example of a inevitable that happened to the prior nations like Ad and Samud, the nations of Hud alayhi salam, who is mentioned after Nuh alayhi salam in the Quran, and then Samud, the nation of Salih alayhi salam, that is mentioned right after Hud alayhi salam, as if they were sister nations, you can say. One came after the other. Wallahu alam what the time span between them were. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then talks about Fir'aun and how those people were destroyed, and how some of the nations that were turned upside down, some nations were turned upside down because of the sins that they did. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Nuh alayhi salam, and how those who believed were saved, and those who were not saved drowned, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left that as an example for mankind. Then, now let's talk about the part that we want to focus on. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, now, إِذَا نُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ نَفْخَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ, when the trumpet will be blown once, just once, one blow. وَحُمِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالُ, then the earth and the mountains will be carried, as in carried up high, as in floating. فَدُكَّتَا دَكَّةً وَاحِدَةً, and then one blow, and everything will break apart. فَيَوْمَئِذٍ وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةُ, then on that day, what is the event that is going to happen, which is al-Haqqah, will happen. Okay? That waqi'ah, it's also an Urdu word, that waqi'ah is going to happen. Okay. وَانشَقَّتِ السَّمَاءُ فَهِيَ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَاهِيَةٌ, and then the skies will tear apart, and tear apart in such a way that they will be feeble. What does that mean? You know how we don't think about the sky at all, right? The space, what we call space-time in physics, right? It doesn't tear apart. I can't grab it. I can't grab the sky. I can't grab space, can I? Very strong, right? You can't squeeze it. You can't stretch it. There's nothing. You need extremely large bodies like the sun and even bigger objects to have gravity to be able to even bend it a little bit. But you can't. It's really, really strong, right? Space-time, really, really strong. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying on that day, that sky that you can't even touch, can't even do anything to, the space is going to break apart. And it's going to break apart in such a way it's going to be feeble, as if it's going to dissolve. Like all of this is going to dissolve. Allahu A'lam, what that would be. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us. Okay. And then, وَالْمَلَكُ عَلَىٰ أَرْجَائِهَا, and angels on that day will be at the corners of what you can say the universe, the sky. They will be at the corners, as if they would be surrounded the skies. وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ, and 8 angels will be carrying the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever that may mean. We don't exactly know what the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, but we know that there are what are called Hamalat al-Arsh. Hamalat al-Arsh are the names of the angels that are carrying the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here's the description. Eight will be carrying, it doesn't say specifically angels, but it is understood to be angels. 8 will be carrying the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that day. يَوْمَئِذٍ تُعْرَضُونَ. On that day, you will be presented. You understand? On that day, you all will be presented, as in we are presented in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَا تَخْفَى مِنْكُمْ خَافِيَةٌ. Nothing, no secrets will be hidden from you, will be left hidden. Everything will be out in the open. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the two people, the people of the right and the people of the left. The people of the right. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ. And those who will be given the book of deeds on their right hand. فَيَقُولُ. He would say, هَا أُمُقْرَؤُوا كِتَابِيَ. Come everybody, look at my book of deeds. He's going to be so happy. He's going to show his A+ grade to everyone. He's going to call everyone. He's going to say, ها أمقرؤوا كتابيا إني ظننت أني ملاق حسابيا إني ملاق حسابيا. I knew that I will get my hisab, get my judgment, as in get my good grade. Right? I worked hard for it. You know how we work hard for the exam, and when we pass the exam, we are super happy because we know all our efforts paid off. That's how that man will be on that day, announcing to everybody, come read my book. ها أمقرؤوا كتابيا إني ظننت أني ملاق حسابيا فهو في عيشة راضية. And he will be in Jannah. قطوفها دانية. The fruits will be low in Jannah. So في جنة عالية. He will be in high heavens. قطوفها دانية, in which the trees, their fruits, they hang low. كلوا واشربوا هنيئا بما أسلفتم في الأيام الخالية. And it will be said to him, eat and drink as much as you want with ease, because this is the reward that you got for what you did in your worldly life, in your previous time. And then as for the other one, فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ. And the one who is given the book in his left hand, فَيَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي. He will be depressed. He will be so regretful. يَا لَيْتَنِي. Oh me, right? Woe is me, as they say in English. لَمْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابِيَ. I wish the book of deeds was not handed to me. He's not crying that it's on his left hand. He's crying that he even got the book of deeds in his hand. وَلَمْ أَدْرِ مَا حِسَابِيَ. And I never had an idea what my end is going to be like, what my hisab is going to be like. I had no idea. And I have no idea because I didn't study, I didn't work hard in this dunya. I don't know what I'm going to get. And now I got my result. I don't even want it. I don't even want it. I know it's going to be bad. لَمْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابِيَ. And then he says, يَا لَيْتَهَا كَانَتِ الْقَاضِيَةِ. And he says, oh, how badly I wish that my death was going to be the end of it. I wish I had not seen anything beyond that. There was going to be no judgment, as he's saying. يَا لَيْتَهَا كَانَتِ الْقَاضِيَةِ. I wish it was done with when I would have died. I'm just putting words in just so that you guys understand. The words are much more beautiful and very abstract to bring the weight into the meaning. مَا أَغْنَى عَنِّي مَالِيَهْ. Okay, before I go on to the next 2-3 verses and then we'll end inshallah. What he's saying is, so the way we need to think about these ayat is, it can't be us. It definitely can be us. It definitely can be us. There are many times, there are times when we don't think of that day of judgment. We just do things because we need to do them, or we have to do them, or we just get lazy, or what have you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran gives, and I've said this before, previously, maybe in other settings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran gives extreme examples. The extreme good and the extreme bad. Okay? The reason for that is the extreme good, that is something that we should aspire to do, aspire to become, right? Extreme bad, that is something that we know, oh, I am better than that worst thing, right? So I need to pull myself back from that. But so we all fall in that spectrum of extreme good and extreme bad. But where we are in the spectrum, we need to constantly judge ourselves, where we fall in that spectrum. So I just want us to constantly think about it. Quran is always going to give extreme examples, and we have to find ourselves in that example every single time. We should never ever think, oh, I know a guy, I know a gal that is such and such. That is, if you're doing that, you are probably on the worst side. If you're thinking about yourself first, where do I fall? Then you are on the right hand side, inshallah. Okay? And then he says, Ma aghna anni maliya. Whatever wealth I had acquired, that is not of no benefit to me now. Halak anni sultaniya. Whatever control I had in this world, whatever authority I had in this world, I have no authority. I have no authority. It's destroyed. Then it is said to him, throw him into the fire, and then some scenes continue, and I'll stop right here. Any questions? Alhamdulillah.